Hey guys, today is December 4th, 2025. So, in just 3 days from now, it will be the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And this date will be exactly 91101 days, like 9/11/01, the date of the attacks, the September 11th attacks, from July 4th, 1776. And by the way, on 9/11, buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell, just like the date of Pearl Harbor, and 12 times 7 is 84. So these are some big connections that were shown by Decoding with Cody. He's been talking about this date. I have some other things that I want to share about it as well. Especially, I thought I'd make a video because, it connects to my birth date as well. Look at this. 19011 days, exact same numbers as 9/11/01, just rearranged. By the way, I was born on November 20th. The 1120th prime number is 9011. That's really interesting because 9/11 is the reason why I started looking at numbers, and one of the numbers I focuses on was 9/11. And also a Skull and Bones number 322 because it was a Skull and Bones ritual, George Bush in office. But I have a few other things that I found and I wanted to share. One of those things being, as far as in weeks, we had this big connection from July 4th in days. July 4th, 1776, the 9/11/01 connection. Well, we have another 9/11/01 connection when you look at weeks to days, because back on May 3rd, 1851, there was a San Francisco fire that took out as much as 3/4 of San Francisco, California. And now we have this big 9/11 connection to this. Of course, it was a lot smaller. It took out 2,000 buildings in 10 hours. It took 10 hours to take out 2,000 buildings. That's crazy. I mean, in the article it says they believed it was started by arson. It must have been multiple people starting fires, because 2,000 buildings in 10 hours? Unless their buildings were made out of straw or something. But anyways, that was a huge fire. And like it says, estimates to 3/4 of the city. So we have this big 9/11 connection to this as well. It's very interesting because we have the Super Bowl coming up, and that's in San Francisco. And as I said, on 9/11/01, buildings 1, 2, 7 fell. 12 times 7, 84, right? Look what this date is also. It's 433 weeks after the great total solar eclipse over the United States in 2017, August 21st. 84th prime is 433, right? And December 7th, 2025 equals 433 in reverse, 84th prime number. Something else Cody talked about was the death of Sally Kirkland, because, right, we had the death of Charlie Kirk, the most notable death in 2025. And she died at the age of 84, born in the year of Pearl Harbor. So this comes just after the death of Dick Cheney, who died at the age of 84, who was vice president during 9/11. But look something I found here. She's near the LA area, and look how old LA was when she died. 12741 weeks. The exact date of Pearl Harbor is when Sally Kirkland died. Huh. And when we look at the death of George Floyd, it was 12725 weeks. In 4 days, 12725 is the date that we're looking at. So it was this many weeks since July 4th, 1776, George Floyd. And of course, he was the most notable death. And during Trump's last presidency, right? And J.D. Vance, 12741, we see the exact date of Pearl Harbor from J.D. Vance's birthday to the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And Vance went to Yale and Ohio State. Yale, of course, where Skull and Bones is at. Their number's 322, and Ohio State was actually founded on 322. This date will be 322 days after the inauguration. It will also be 3 years, 22 weeks after the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed. By the way, Georgia Guidestones opened on 3/22/1980. They were destroyed on George Bush's 76th birthday. George Bush being a member of Skull and Bones, their number 322, and 76 equals Skull and Bones in gematria. And Cody talked about this 402 Mercury years, but I don't think he made the 322 connection because 402 is the 322nd composite number. So 402 Mercury years since Vatican City was founded. J.D. Vance was the last person to see the Pope at the Vatican. So we have all these 322 connections, and then we add the Vatican as well. So, and speaking of the Vatican, the Pope, I made 2 previous videos talking about the number 23 in the Pope. And here we are again with the number 23 connecting to the Pope, but this has a double connection, bigger connection. And I'm going to get into why I said that in a minute and show you guys on the next slide. But so it's 230 days after the Pope died, 203 days after the Pope was inaugurated on May 18th. Why is this interesting? Because when we look back, the year of World War I, 1914, when Pope Pius died, he died 23 days after World War I took place. And Pope Pius XI died in the year of World War II, exactly 203 days before World War II took place. And look how many days are years and weeks after World War I. We have a backwards 9/11, 111 years, 19 weeks. And like I said, we have this double 23 connection to the Pope. So I don't know what's going to happen, if we're going to have a war event or what, but sometimes doing these decodes reminds me of like the movie National Treasure. Maybe that's how they do things, because that was about Freemasonry, and they discover a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Like, it's a map to a treasure, but it leads to a place where they find a clue. But that only leads to another clue, and that only leads to another clue until they go to like 5 different places or 6 different, many different clues, and they finally find the treasure. It's almost like what they do. They leave a clue, and sometimes things don't happen like you think they're going to happen, but sometimes it's leading to another date, a clue to another date. And that's what I think a lot of this is, but we very well maybe see something big on this date. But we'll see. Something big might happen. We might have a war event. We might have a fire. We might, who knows? But anyways, the number 23 also connects to King Charles, because it will be 23 days after King Charles's birthday. And King equals 23. But look how old King Charles will be on this 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. 4,021 weeks. Well, that was the date that the Pope died. This was the date that the Queen was born. Queen Elizabeth. And now look at when you look at years to days from King Charles's birthday. 77 years, 23 days. 7723 is the 980th prime. Well, you don't have to count zeros in numerology, and you're left with 98. What was 98? September 8th. 9/8 was the date that Queen Elizabeth died. So, yeah, that's all I got. I just wanted to add some other connections that I found, as well as my own birth date, the 9/11 rearranged connection with my birth date, 19011 days. So I thought I should make a video about this. I probably was going to talk about it anyways because of the connection with the Pope, but I didn't realize all these connections, other connections that I found. And yeah, go also check out Decoding with Cody, his video, and he talked about many more connections with the state. Something with John Cena again. He's like a patriot. He's known as a patriot in wrestling, and he will be 17760 days, like 1776. Old on this day. And by the way, he was shown with the number. I think he was wearing the number 23, saying the last time is now. So again, he has a connection with the number 23. Probably all ties into whatever that I'm showing you with this number 23. But anyways, I will talk to you guys in the next video. We'll see what happens. Take care.